Hello and welcome to the DebtCircle Sundown Brief. I'm Leela, and here's your complete roundup of today's debt market, fixed income, liquidity, currency, and primary market developments. Let's begin with the top 5 highest yield listed corporate bond trades of the day. Unifin's Capital India Limited led the list with a yield of 17.25% and a trade value of 20 lakh rupees. IFL Finance Limited recorded a yield of 15.99% with a trade value of 22.13 lakh rupees. Akara Capital Advisors Private Limited delivered a yield of 15.90% with a trade value of 100 lakh rupees. Ugro Capital Limited traded at a yield of 15.47% with a trade value of 0.10 lakh rupees. And Ambium Finserv Limited offered a yield of 15.08% with a trade value of 0.10 lakh rupees. Moving to the unlisted corporate bond market, Apex Homes Private Limited topped the table with a yield of 14.00% and a trade value of 4,192.07 lakh rupees. Nuvama Wealth Finance Limited featured multiple times with yields of 9.00%. The first trade was valued at 30 lakh rupees. The second trade was also valued at 30 lakh rupees. The third trade was valued at 20 lakh rupees. And the fourth trade was valued at 70 lakh rupees. Now let's look at mutual fund debt transactions. Gross purchases stood at 19,472.17 crore rupees. Gross sales came in at 25,323.30 crore rupees. Net investment for the day was negative 5,851.13 crore rupees. Net investment for June, month to date, stands at negative 28,845.710 crore rupees. Turning to foreign portfolio investor activity in the debt market. Under the general limit category, gross purchases were 449.54 crore rupees, while gross sales were 315.96 crore rupees. Resulting in a net investment of 133.58 crore rupees. Under the voluntary retention route, or VRR, gross purchases were 0.00 crore rupees, while gross sales were 324.54 crore rupees, resulting in a net investment of negative 324.54 crore rupees. Under the fully accessible route, or FAR, gross purchases were 3,439.21 crore rupees, while gross sales were 195.63 crore rupees, resulting in a net investment of 3,243.58 crore rupees. For June month to date, net investment stands at 1,739.62 crore rupees under the general limit, 2,699.35 crore rupees under VRR, and 8,553.16 crore rupees under FAR. For calendar year 2026 year to date, net investment stands at negative 1,655 crore rupees under the general limit, negative 253 crore rupees under VRR, and 23,166 crore rupees under FAR. Let's move to money market rates. The call rate closed at 5.27%. Tri-party repo stood at 5.18%. Basket repo was 5.23%. And special repo was 5.07%. Now for India's government bond yield curve. The 1-year yield stood at 6.00%. The 3-year yield was 6.29%. The 5-year yield was 6.52%. The 7-year yield was 6.79%. The 9-year yield came in at 6.82%. The 10-year benchmark yield stood at 6.90%. The 15-year yield was 7.17%. And the 30-year yield closed at 7.54%. Looking at Treasury bill yields and auction cutoffs, the 91-day Treasury bill yield stood at 5.56%. The 182-day Treasury bill yield was 5.73%, and the 364-day Treasury bill yield stood at 6.03%. Let's review liquidity conditions. Net liquidity injected stood at negative 1,43,040 crore rupees. Standing deposit facility balances were 1,67,007 crore rupees. Marginal standing facility utilization stood at 287 crore rupees. Moving to MIBOR OIS rates. The 1-year rate stood at 6.00%. The 2-year rate was 6.19%. The 3-year rate was 6.29%. And the 5-year rate stood at 6.46%. Modified MIFOR rates were as follows. The 2-year rate stood at 6.65%. The 3-year rate was 6.61%. The 4-year rate came in at 6.75%, and the 5-year rate stood at 6.85%. Now let's check the currency market. The US dollar traded at 95.32 rupees against the Indian rupee, compared with 95.51 previously. The euro traded at 110.29 rupees, compared with 110.26 previously. The British pound traded at 127.72 rupees, compared with 127.70 previously. The Japanese yen traded at 0.60 rupees, unchanged from 0.60 previously. And the Chinese yuan traded at 14.12 rupees, compared with 14.04 previously. Moving to commodities and equity indices. 24-karat gold with 99.9% purity was priced at 15,316 rupees per 10 grams, compared with 15,169 rupees previously. Silver was priced at 2,600 rupees per 10 grams, unchanged from 2,600 rupees previously. Crude oil was trading at $92.79 per barrel, compared with $94.48 previously. The Sensex closed at 73,918.76, compared with 73,524.26 previously. And the Nifty closed at 23,242.10, compared with 23,123.00 previously. Finally, let's look at today's corporate bond primary issuances. Kotak Mahindra Prime Limited announced an issuance of 400 crore rupees with tenures ranging from 23 to 35 months across multiple tranches and coupon rates ranging from 7.05% to 8.05%. HDB Financial Services Limited announced an issuance of 505 crore rupees with tenures ranging from 35 to 60 months across multiple tranches and coupon rates ranging from 7.75% to 8.28%. The issue carries AAA ratings from CARE Ratings Limited and CRISIL Ratings Limited. RDC Concrete India Limited announced an issuance of 35 crore rupees with a tenure of 31 months and a coupon rate of 11.00%. The issue is rated A by Acquite Ratings and Research Limited. That wraps up the DebtCircle Sundown brief for June 9th, 2026. I'm Leela. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back with more debt market updates tomorrow. Have a great evening.